Because it says that's due on the 29th.
For quiz, let me check. Quiz 5?
Yeah, week 5.
Okay, not the quiz, you're talking portfolio, right?
The portfolio, yeah.
Yes, portfolio. What's happening in portfolios? 5 on 29th of March, right?
Yeah, that's the wrong date because for portfolio 4, it says it's due 29 March as well.
Okay. I'm gonna fix it then. Display after 29th. Due date should be actually 1 week from 29th. So it should be on 5th. Okay, let it be on 5th. It should be fine, yeah. Yes, and you guys need to see the answer too. All answer, correct answers. And submit it. Okay. So it should be fine now. Let's see. 2, 3, 4, 5. Due on 5th of April. And yeah, there are questions in there. All good. Anything else, Eman?
No, everything's been
All
resolved.
good. Okay. All right. And we have, okay. So today I'm going to actually start from the previous lecture, as per you remember. So I will go back to week 3, and I think we have it in download folder. Let me see if I have that in download folder. Should have it in download folder. Workshop lecture topic. Let me see this one. Week 3. This is the one. So I did not complete the consumer surplus and producer surplus, as far as we remember. I will start from there. Okay. Let's start from consumer surplus and producer surplus. I want to spend some time in here actually. And we will also do today, week 4. Cost, production, and revenue. We'll do this chapter as well. Actually, I have it anyway. All right. So it's all sorted out. Okay. All right. So let's go start with this one. With consumer surplus and producer surplus. Let's start from here. And let me hide this one. height floating netting control should be all right. Okay. Okay. Let's work on it. Now we'll talk about consumer surplus and producer surpluses. And when you talk about consumer surplus, producer surplus, how do we mean by this one? Let me start with an example with you about these things. How do we mean by consumer surplus and producer surplus? Let's say that you have an intention to purchase a mobile phone, an iPhone you want to buy, and you are ready to pay for, let's say, let me write it down in here. So you want to buy an iPhone, for example, and you are ready to pay for expected payment. No, the thing is like, to different people will have different payment plan. Intentions, I should say, that we have payment intentions, because it varies from person to person. It varies like how much you are willing to pay. It depends on how much value you think you're gonna get out of it. Okay, if someone asks me how much you want to pay for YouTube Premium, I would say nothing, because I'm not a person who uses YouTube very extensively. I'm not a content creator or these or those, nothing like that. What I do is just upload my lectures in there so my students can view it, see that. I don't need anything much. Free version is fine with me. Now, the problem comes up. I do not actually use it. That's true. I do not use it much. I use it just for simple purposes. It's nothing serious. Okay. There are people who will pay for YouTube Premium because they use it extensively. They use it for different purposes, different reasons. So value of YouTube Premium to them is high, but value to me is low. The same way, some people who would like to have a good camera, good mobile phone, they are worried about security, privacy, those things, their value to them in iPhone is high. Another person is nothing much value. Another person is a brand to him, he loves it. Okay, so different person will get different types of values. Okay, different person will have different types of values, and they will actually determine the price based on what value they feel the product has to them. Okay, if the product has quite a high, greater value to him, he will try to pay more. Some people is no, nothing. For example, let's say if I say that, how much is the value of this marker to you? You would say nothing, maybe 10 cents. To me, I will give value. I use it extensively. So now, how do we mean by consumer surplus? That's the question we are coming closer. So I already made the plot. Okay, let me actually make the, I almost made the plot. Now I'm gonna make the point. So let's say that iPhone, I have a couple of students in my class now. I would say for iPhone, for example, let's say one of my student name is, I can see here Jackie Shi. Jackie, how much you want to pay for an iPhone? Then I can see here Eman. Then I can see here Omar. 3 is fine. Jackie, how much you want to pay for iPhone, please?
$300.
$300. Thank you very much. Yes, Eman, how much you want to pay for an iPhone?
350.
350. iPhone really getting its very less value. Come on, what's wrong with you guys? Umar, how much you're going to pay for an iPhone?
800.
800. Okay, so let's say the company has decided that, okay, this thing you want to pay. Now the Apple decided the market price for an iPhone is, let's say, $375. $375, they said the price of an iPhone. Okay, so which iPhone have this price? iPhone, which one? 12? No, 12 price will not, they will not. Okay, let's iPhone 2. Okay, how happy are you, Eman? Are you happy?
Pardon?
Are you happy? The price is 375.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, you're happy? No, you should not be happy.
Why?
You should not be happy. Because you are ready to pay 350, you cannot afford it. You don't find the value.
But it's only like $20 difference. So like
Still, $20 matters. Okay. I understand your point. I understand how you're going through. I understand your point, but I'm taking it very, very strictly theoretically. Okay. And now, Jackie, you happy?
Probably not.
Probably not. Omar, how happy are you?
A lot, because it's like hella cheap.
Yeah. How
Yeah.
about if the price is 325? You happy, Jackie?
It's okay.
No, it's not okay. Okay. How about Eman? You happy now?
I don't know.
325. You're ready to pay 350.
Yeah, yes. Oh, sorry.
You happy? How much happy you are?
I mean, if it's less, then it's not really, it means that's not that good.
Oh no, you are happy of $25. You are happy of $25. Makes sense?
I guess, yeah.
You get the point, right? How about Omar? How happy you are?
It's going cheaper.
Yes. So your happiness is, if I talk about your happiness from iPhone in terms of price value, I think it will be around $475, right?
Yeah.
You're happy up to $475 happiness you have. That's your consumer surplus. Eman's consumer surplus is $25. Jackie, you are not happy. You don't have any consumer surplus here at all. Okay, so what is consumer surplus? Consumer surplus is the difference between the willingness of customers to pay for a product and the market price of the product. Make sense? The consumer surplus is the difference between, so I will say here, consumer surplus for, I put to, that's not very good, okay. For, let's say here, Jackie's consumer's iPhone is, let's say, market price. Market price is, let's say, $325. So Jackie willing to pay $300, and his consumer surplus is 0. Jackie do not have any consumer surplus here. Okay, and then let's say about Eman. Eman is willing to pay 350, and Eman's consumer and her consumer surplus is $25. Eman is happy of $25. Happy she is. Okay, she is happy. She wanted to pay 350, but she will have to pay now 325. She's happy.
Sorry, sir, what chapter is this from in the textbook?
This is from chapter 3, I believe.
Alrighty, thank you.
Let me check. Let me be confirmed, please. Give me a second. This is from which chapter? Consumer surplus, right? lecture 3. I don't think it's from consumer from chapter 3. Chapter 3. I don't think so. Give me a second. I have to check the content.
That's all right. I'll check. Thanks, sir.
Consumer surplus. If you go at the index, you'll find it there. Consumer surplus. Okay. And Eman is willing to pay 350, and her consumer surplus is $25. Omar is willing to pay $800, and his consumer surplus is $475. Make sense? So how do we get it? We get it by consumer surplus. So you can say consumer surplus is the difference between market price and the consumer's willingness to pay for the product. Make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
For the product. That's called the consumer surplus. Yeah. Okay. Now, if we talk about now, we'll convert it into now producer surplus. Okay. Let's convert it to producer surplus now. Where's the replace here? Okay, I'll say a producer. Producer surplus. Okay, here is replace. Consumer producer plus producer. Okay, now let's put it this way. Jackie, Eman, and Omar, I'll take the 3 example again. Okay, so Jackie willing to work for painting. Okay, she's willing to work for painting for how much? $300, for example. Okay, sorry, Jackie is willing to, and his now let's say that. Now let's say that, let's put it this way, that, not put it here, is consumer. Okay, so let's put it this way. Jackie is willing to paint a house for $300. Okay, $300 he's willing to pay. Eman is willing to work for $350 and willing to work for painting. Now you guys are now producer. What you're producing? You're producing painting work for a property, for example. And Omar is willing to work for $800. Okay. Now, the person who was hiring the painter, okay, that employer offered how much? Let's say $500. Employer offered $500. Now Jackie was willing to work for $300 and he's very happy. Why he is happy? Because he is now getting $500, whereas he was ready to work for $300. So Jackie's producer surplus is here, $200. Make sense? Good. Eman is willing to work for painting $350, but her producer and her employer offered $500. Eman is happy too. And her happiness is for how much? Her happiness is for $150. Omar is willing to work for $800 and his producer surplus will be 0 because he cannot do the job. He's not happy with $500. He wants to have $800. So what is producer surplus? Producer surplus is consumers. Okay. So producer surplus is the market price, the difference between market price and the willingness to work for. The willingness to work for. It will be producer surplus is the difference between market price and the producer's willingness to work for. Willingness to work for. For the product. Willingness to work for, or you can say willingness to supply for the product. The price that are willingness to supply for. Okay, that's the differences that we have. So this is the main concept we have. Okay, so how do we actually show them in graph? We show them in graph in this way. Okay, we show them in this way. What is this? How do they mean by this? Have a look. Let's make it bigger. Consumer surplus is the area from the price. You see that this is the price line. What is this price? This is market price. Market price above the market price, below the demand curve. Above the market price, below the demand curve. So this green area is your consumer surplus. You can see this is demand curve, this is supply curve, and B is your equilibrium point. So this is the thing is your price line. This is your quantity line. So upward area, this one, this triangle is your consumer surplus. And this one, producer surplus, is this one, which is referring to as below the price line, above the supply curve. Okay, these two. Now, interesting thing is this, for example, let's say, now I'll go back to this example here. Let's say the price changes. Price must change. It's true. Price will change from time to time. Okay, so employer offered, let's say now, $600. Look, these things will change now. Jackie is happy of $300 now. Eman is happy for $250 now. Omar is still 0 when the price changes. Okay. Okay, guys, give me a second. I'm getting some noise. I don't know what is that. Let me check it. Give me for 1 minute. Sorry. Okay. So what we mean by this? We mean by this, if the price changes, it might add more values, more consumer surplus to the existing customers. Also, it will add up new happy customers too. Okay. In our case, for example, let's say in this case, we should say that if the employer offered, let's say, $850. Now see, 850. Now you see, Omar is also happy now. Omar is happy of $50 extra. We've got one more new producer surplus. Same for consumer too. The iPhone prices goes down, more down. Now you can see that Jackie would be happy too. If iPhone price is $250, Jackie would be happy as well. $50 happiness Jackie would see. Iman would be happy for $350 to $250 to $100. Umar would be happy too. More happier, I should say. Happier more. That's the case we have. So this is your simple way to understand the consumer supply producer surpluses. Now let's go in here. The demand is, oh, another thing is total surplus. Total surplus is the consumer surplus plus the producer surplus. This is the thing is total surplus. The whole thing is total surplus. Consumer surplus plus producer surplus. Okay. Now let's talk about price control. How does the government interfere in our life through controlling the price? Two things we use here, government interventions. One is price floor, one is price ceiling. How do they do these things? Let's go in here. Okay. This is a price floor you're talking about. Okay. Price floor. Let's say why the government would interfere. That's another good question would come up here. Why the government would interfere actually? It happens in a mixed economy, especially when we have the private companies involved, private firms involved in the business, like the market economy. Then what do they do is this, very simple. Business will always look for the profit. They are not willing to, even if you go and tell someone, I want to work for free, they will say, work for free. He's happy. In 2009, in Australia, when we had the global financial crisis at that time, I was a student in Australia at that time. We noticed that time, 2008, 9, not 9, actually 2008 actually. Okay, 2008, 7, 8, that's the time. People used to go and work for free for 2 weeks. They give an offer to the employer that I'm going to work for your business for 2 weeks. I'll give you free trial. You see how I work, then you recruit me. Now you're paying Muhammad, let's say $15 an hour. I'll work for $12 an hour. Employer is happy. How ethical is that? That's a good question. How good is that? If we have this type of competition keep going on, at one stage we will see nobody has job. The price of the wages will go down, 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 and down. Even it will become free one day. Someone else might come up and say, okay, now he's going to work for 2 weeks free. I'm going to work for 3 weeks free. Employer will take advantage of it. That's human psychology. They will do. Government needs to interfere. Government will say, no, you cannot pay less than $19.84. I think that's the current rate now in Australia, national minimum wages now in Australia, 19.84, I believe. Isn't it? What is the current rate now? National minimum wages. National minimum wages 2020-21. 1984, yes. Okay, so you cannot pay my staff, my citizens as 19.84 minimum. Employers are not happy. They're not happy at all. Why they're not happy? Because look, market price is much more lower. Even someone wants to work for $15. Muhammad is working for $15 here. Government understand. Because Muhammad is not in charge. He's not in upper hand as an employee to argue with you. Government need to interfere. Okay. So let's say Muhammad worked there because of demand and supply. Same goes with the rent. I'll come up rent very soon. That is price ceiling. I'll come up with rent in some couple of minutes. I'm coming to talk about rent too. So what's happening in this case? That market price is below, but government says, no, you pay more. That's the minimum price you pay is this, 900. Muhammad is willing to pay for $800 a week, but government interference says, no, you pay $900 a week. This is a labor market we're talking about. Look, product is the labor, is the product here. Price of the product is your wage rate. Okay? And number of laborers is the quantity of labor, the demand into the market. And here is the labor supply. And here is the demand for labor. This is the demand curve for labor. Here is supply curve for labor. So as a result, what's happening? That we are actually setting up the price more than the market price, above the equilibrium point. So market price is my equilibrium price, as I told you in last week, if you remember. Market price is my equilibrium price. So we are paying 900. So what's happening if you have to pay more? There will be oversupply of the customers. I'm sorry, the labor. Oversupply of labor means we have unemployment we have. Make sense? We will have unemployment in that case. Okay, simple, it happens. Classical unemployment, we call this one, it's all right. Now we'll talk about rent. Okay, and another thing you have to talk here. So as a result, what's happening is this. Look, so at $900, demand of that labor is, at this point, is the demand. Since the price has increased, the wages has increased, more people are willing to work now. And more people are willing to work, labor supply has increased. See that? But employers are not happy. They are not willing to recruit more people. So if it was 800, they would have recruited 10 people. Now they say, no, I'm going to recruit 8 people. 2 people has lost his job. And you see this triangle created in here, this triangle will be known as dead weight loss. This triangle will be known as dead weight loss. Remember this one. And the consumer surplus will be which area? This purple and blue. Not this blue. This is dead weight loss. Okay? And producer surplus will be, this yellow one is producer surplus. See? Not necessarily it will always have to be a triangle. Okay? Not necessarily that consumer surplus, producer surplus will be always a triangle. No, not really. Now we have showed you here. When there is government interventions and there are price floor is set, look at this. Consumer surplus and producer surplus. Interesting, isn't it? Let's move on next. Price ceiling. Price ceiling normally comes with, a good example is our rent. If there is a house close to a good school, all the parents wants to go in there and buy and rent in that area. So the owner feels that a lot of demand into the market, they increase the price. Price goes up, auction bidding goes on. And they will give the rent, they will select the tenant on the basis of who offers the maximum rent. Normal practice, this is normal practice. That's what we call rational behavior of human being. Some of you might think, oh, that's very selfish, that's those things. No, our brain works like, our psychology is like this. I will get the maximum benefit. That's the way we think. That's human psychology, human phenomena is like that. That's what we find from the observation of rational decision-making human behavior. Okay? And you see here what the government does at the time. Government will set up, no, you cannot actually charge this much rent to the tenants. What they will do, government will interfere and they will say there is a price ceiling. You can charge maximum this much. So let's say, for example, that here rent landlords per unit per month, let's say $1,600. Market price is $2,000. Market price per month, $2,000. Every week $500, for example. Government thinks this is too much. They want to reduce the price. What government does? Government says, no, the price should be $1,600 per month. Landlords are not happy. They're not making buildings anymore. So when the price was 2,000, landlords are happy they used to provide 72 units. When they say the price has dropped, okay, to $1,600 per month, they bring it down to 44. Again, we can see a deadweight loss here. Okay, so this is the line, is a new quantity line. And this is the new price line is in here. And in that case, there will be shortage because supply has reduced. Again, our deadweight loss is this triangle, this 2 black dot and this pink dot. This triangle is deadweight loss. Consumer surplus will be this blue line. Okay. Actually, this blue line, this one, these three will be all consumer surplus. This rectangle, and this blue line, the blue triangle. All these four together will be your, all these three together will be your consumer surplus. Producer surplus is only this lower blue one is your producer surplus. Why? Because according to our system, according to our definition, that producer surplus is below the price line. The price is 1,600. Price is not 2,000 anymore. Price is 1,600.
So what? Because they were willing to pay 30 all the way at the top, but we've dropped it down to 16. That's all the excess.
There is a customer. One customer is there who wants to pay me $3,000. 30.
Yeah, gotcha.
Make sense? There is a customer too who is willing to pay $3,000 as well.
Yeah, cheers.
Mm. The market price is 2,000. There will be some people who is willing to pay for iPhone $5,000 too. There are someone. All right, let's move on. Oh, that's it. That's all we got. Yeah, that's fine. Another last important thing I want to note, I want to bring your attention at, always remember this one. This will make you to understand better. It's a tricky way. I'm going to show you now. You see the equilibrium point in here? Always remember that. Ceiling of a room is at the top, up, right? And the floor of a room is at the bottom. In economics, price ceiling is actually not up, it's actually below the equilibrium line, opposite. And the floor is actually above the equilibrium line. Okay, keep that in mind. Okay, let's move on to our next topic. The next one is about cost, production, revenue, profit maximization. These things we'll be talking today. Okay. Every business, big or small, is worried and they want to know that how much to produce, what to produce, how many staff to recruit, how many labor to recruit, how much should be the costing of my product. They want to know these things. Okay, now I'm moving into the cost chapter today. Okay, they want to know these things. They want to know how much it will cost me to produce one product. That's why it is important to learn about this cost and production system. And another important thing here, you need to learn a term called diminishing marginal return. Very important thing to understand here. What does it mean by diminishing marginal return? Diminishing means reducing. I can see here only, let me see, I have some other students in here too. Let me see who else is in here. Murad Salim, admin, who is admin? Hui Duan, Brianna Kha, Jeremy, Mary.
So did you call my name?
Is your name admin?
No, it's not.
All right, anyway, Riley, okay. Now, what I'm trying to say here is Hui Duan, T. Hui Duan, for example, one of my students. Then Jackie, I already talked. Murad is there. Brianna, for example. Brianna Mary. I'll take them as my example in this case today. Okay. So, Brianna Kha, tell me, you are very thirsty now. You would like to have a can of Coke. Okay? Would you enjoy it?
Yes.
To have a Coke, or you want to have something else, Red Bull or something else?
I don't mind. I'll have Coke.
All right, you have a Coke, a can of Coke. You had it now. Okay. How are you feeling?
I feel okay.
Yeah, you feel okay? How about another can?
Yeah, I don't mind.
Okay, cool. How about third one?
Sorry?
How about third can?
Yeah, it's fine, I guess.
Yeah. How about fourth?
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah. How about if you go for fifth one?
That wouldn't be a problem.
Yeah. How about number 6?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah. 7?
That's okay.
Oh, you are. Oh my goodness, not with you. You are not a good example. I picked actually. I'm sorry.
I don't know what
You're
to
drinking too much of
what
Coke.
to say.
In real life, you can't, to be honest.
I mean, I don't see a problem with accepting all of those.
But you're
Oh.
drinking them right now.
Oh, drinking them at once.
Yeah, you're drinking them.
Oh.
You're not saving them. No, you're not sparing
Oh,
them.
well, I'll stop at 2.
You will stop at 2.
Yeah.
That's the point I wanted.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
You stop at 2. Okay. So the thing is this: like the first can when you drink, the first can you drank, you get the maximum satisfaction
Yeah.
because you are tired, you are thirsty, you had a run, and you came home, you had a Coke.
Okay.
You're fine. You're feeling fresh, satisfied, lovely. You see the value.
Yeah.
Second one, you will not feel as satisfactory as the first one,
Yeah.
right? Second one. If I give you the third one to drink, you will not enjoy it much.
Yeah.
Even if you are a very good of, let's say you love Coke addicted, I will say, I'm sorry for the word, is still third, fourth one, you might not, number 5th might be a torture on you,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's about getting satisfaction. Forget about Coke, maybe a glass of water too, the same thing.
Yeah.
The first glass, you'll enjoy it. Second glass, less enjoyment than the first one. Third one is hard. Fourth, fifth is torture now.
Yeah.
Same way, it happens with human too. When we work, the first labor you recruit, let's say a cake shop. There is a very nice cake shop. I love it in Sydney, CBD, Eastern George Street, called Uncle Tetsu.
Mm-hmm.
Cheesecake, the Japanese style they make it.
Yeah.
I love that one.
I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah.
I've been there.
Yeah, I've been there too. I go there very frequently.
Yeah.
Very nice. Yes. And that one, let's say in that store, one person can make 50 cake a day, one employee. So the owner recruited second employee too. How many cake he's expecting?
The same amount as the first one?
As the first one, 100. But it's not gonna work like that. They will not give him 100 cake. They will give him less.
Why?
Why? I'm coming. Third employee, that will give him less than that even. Why is that? Because when you recruit one staff, you have to give them more space to work in there. You have to give them more equipment to work in there. You have to give them more raw materials to work with. Make sense? For example, let's say when you recruit one staff had every full store with him. He can play very nice.
Yeah.
When the second staff comes in, now he needs a ball to put the dough together. Second staff will say, can I use the ball now? So they are actually sharing the equipments.
Yeah.
There will be delay. So owner need to invest more money to provide them with this apparatus of the work. Okay. As a result, their return means their output will be reduced, diminished. That's what we call diminishing marginal return. Marginal means one extra. That's why I was raising you kind of Coke one by one, one extra. I mean, I'm recruiting staff one by one too, because one means one, marginal means one extra. So diminishing marginal return, it means that the output of recruitment, marginal means one staff, will be reduced. Diminishing marginal return. Okay?
Yes.
So the return of one extra unit of input will be reducing the output. So if one staff is, first employee is producing 50 cake a day, second employee together, they will put maybe 90 cake, not 100. Third staff, they come in, this time they're supposed to produce 150 supposed to be, but they will produce maybe 110 or maybe 125. This is gonna be reduced slowly. What does it mean? It means it's reducing because of diminishing marginal return. That's the theory we have. Like I said you about satisfaction level in drinking Coke or water. In the same way, human behavior will be also that when more people will be working, we need to give them more space, work space. We need to give them more equipment. We need to give them more raw materials to work with. Okay, so since the owner is expecting 150 cakes, so you need to bring 150 flours for 150 cakes, flour and cheese for 150 cake. You have to bring the oven to produce 150 cakes. So you need more space as well, more equipment as well, more raw materials as well. Make sense?
Yeah.
So it's like a limit for the maximum output that you can do.
Yes. Let's move on. This is the one is production function. You see that? Like you see these things. So production function, it means that it's actually going down. It's going up, up, up. At once it's going down.
Sorry?
Yes? Someone was trying to say something? No? Okay, that's fine. So what is being meant here that production function meaning here that the production will be actually going down, increasing at a decreasing rate. That's what we mean here. Okay, and the cost will be actually here, the diminishing marginal product, they mean here. Okay, as more and more variable inputs are added to fixed inputs after a certain level, marginal product will increase at a decreasing rate, remaining constant, and then start falling. This is known as diminishing marginal product rate. Okay. I'll come up more and talk about it more. Okay. And another one we talk here is called cost function. So when you increase the input, your costing is increasing, but production is not increasing. As a result, per unit cost is increasing. Does it make sense what I'm trying to say? Your investment in input is increasing because you're recruiting not one staff anymore, you're recruiting 3 staffs now. Okay, 3 staffs are supposed to give you 150 cakes. But that 150 cakes is not being produced 125 cakes. As a result, your per unit cake costing of per unit cake is increasing. Make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Thank you very much. Okay, if you understand this concept, now another concept I need to take about long run and short run. What is long run? What is short run? Look, in accounting, they will say, well, more than 1 year is long term. Long term. Current asset, like in accounting, we have current asset and fixed asset. So current asset means like within 1 year, fixed asset is more than 1 year. In business plan, they mean 1 to 5 years is short-term plan. More than 5 years, they think long-term plan. Okay. But in economics, we do not have any time frame in long run or short run. There is no time frame involved here. What is involved here? It involves here the factors of productions are involved here. What are these factors of productions? Let's have a look. Factors of productions are land, labor, capital. Oh, this is next. Why is not labor here? Oh, labor, capital, and enterprise. These are the 4 factors of productions. When you set up a plant, when you set up a business, a premises is needed, the land. You need a specific land. You need some labor too. You need some capital and a management. These 4 things you must have to have. Mandatory, you must have to have these 4 things. Land, labor, capital, and enterprise. Short run means that at least one of these factors of production is constant or fixed. At least one of them. If all of them are actually variable, all of them are changing, that is long run. Let's say coffee shop. Coffee cart, for example, on the, like we have one, is called Harry's Cafe de Whale, remember? The pie shop. They have, I have seen them in Ulumulu. Harry's Cafe de Wheels. A small van, a cart. And inside them, they have coffee, they have some small pie, they have some peace pie, this pie, those pie, they have these things. Small, two persons or 3 persons will run the place. So this type of cart, let's say it's a good demand into the market, maybe in 2-3 months, they will open another cart, another place. Okay, so look, when they have one cart, a small business, okay, small cart or a small wheels, 4 wheels, a small cart, that one. And look, they have a land, that small van is the land. There are 3 people working labor. Invested some money in their capital. These 3 people is working as a management. One is maybe manager, one is cleaning, one is making, one is serving, like this, they're working in there together. That's the management. Now they need another place. They need another land, labor, capital, enterprise again. So all these 4 variables has increased. We can call it a long run. Even it might come up in 3 months' time. They want to open another van. Same way, if you think about Sydney Airport, we have one in Kingsford, right? Mascot. Kingsford Smith International Airport we have in Sydney. How many years is there? I don't know. When was it established actually? Sydney International Airport establishment date. Which year was that? 1970. Oh, by 1960s, New Airport needed. Was 1960s. Okay, 70 they opened it. Queen Elizabeth II. Officially opened by 1970, Queen Elizabeth II. See, after 50 years, when they opened that Sydney Airport, that time in Mascot, in Kingsford, okay, they had the land, they had the labor, people start to increase, slowly they expanded. Now they're at a full capacity. Now we need another new airport. Government is working on Badgerry Creek. After 50 years later, now we need another one in Badgerry Creek, Western Suburbs. See, long run is 50 years now for Sydney Airport. Make sense? So long run means when all these variables are changing, which could lead, which is like this, that a new branch, another business, another setup is there. So when they will open a new airport in there, now see, this Kingsford one, it will be full operations, 100% full capacity they're working on. Extra plane comes up, that can go in Sydney Airport. Maybe that plane will find the whole airport by itself. Only one plane in the whole airport. Okay, that's another thing. That time think for one plane to land, they had to create a whole runway. The first plane landing. But they did not do it for one, of course not. But think for the first plane landing, how costly that landing would be. Okay. Okay. Is it long run, short run clear to you guys? So long run is period of time in which all factors of productions can be varied. Short run means when at least one factor of production is fixed. Okay, it's not about time length. It's about factors of productions. All right, if these things you guys understand it, then I can talk about now another important concept I want to talk is called accounting profit and economics profit. Two different types of profit we have. There is something called explicit cost and implicit cost. I need to actually take you to this place now. And here I will tell you here. Okay. So this one here is accounting profit, and this one is economics profit, economic profit. Two different profit systems. Okay. Let's say this whole thing is your revenue. This whole thing is your revenue. Okay. And what you did out of this whole revenue system, the whole thing is your revenue. Revenue. Okay. For both the business, this whole thing is your revenue. There is something called explicit cost. Explicit cost means that the cost you can see, like you paid for purchasing something, you see this. You paid the manager's salary, you see this. You paid the rent, you see these things. But there are some other costs, you cannot see that. You don't pay it by itself, but there is costing. Okay. For example, let's say, let me give you an example. Let's say you have $300,000 in your bank account. How much you have? $300,000 you have in your bank account. And it's giving you a salary. It's giving you not salary, interest. So it's giving you, let's say, $300,000 of savings and at 5% interest rate is equal to, is giving you $15,000 of interest earning. Okay. Now what you did, you took this $300,000 out of the bank, invested in a business. invested in a business. And the business has made a revenue of this whole YOLO thing. How much is there? For example, let's say 500,000 you made sales revenue. Then from the revenue, you have to subtract your implicit cost. Explicit cost. For the explicit cost, different costing you paid. Salaries, these, those costing you paid. Rest of the money is your profit. But economics says that's not the only thing. You have to consider, and in accounting concept, you do not consider that you are losing the 15,000 interest earning too. When you take the money out of the bank and you invested this money in a business, so what are you losing? You're losing this $15,000 of interest earnings. You're losing this $15,000 of interest earning. Now, let's say the business gives you a profit of $50,000. For accounting perspective, you will say, yes, this 50,000 is my profit. Economics will say, no, 50,000 is not your profit. Your profit is 35,000. Why? Look, you're already losing 50. You already getting 15,000 from the bank as an interest. So how much this business is giving you extra benefit? 35. That's what the economist says. So this 15,000 interest you are losing is actually you are losing an opportunity of earning 15,000. That's called the opportunity cost of investment. This is called this explicit cost. This is explicit cost. In economist, the implicit cost also, implicit cost will be also subtracted. Then the rest will be your profit. From the revenue, you subtract the explicit cost. This 2 is your accounting profit. But economist will say, no, this much, this one is only 1 is your accounting profit. Sorry, economic profit. So why is that? Because economists consider implicit cost as a cost too. That's why. Okay, what is implicit cost? Implicit cost is the opportunity cost of the investments or any other cost which may not be seen. Like for example, let's say the owner himself is working into the business. So he could have worked somewhere else. That's also implicit cost. That's accounting, think like that way. Sorry, economists think like that way. Okay. Now let's move on. Now we'll be talking about our different type of cost. Fixed cost, variable cost, average cost. Okay, we will talk about these things. Average fixed cost, average marginal cost. We'll talk about these things. Okay, this is a cost chart in here. We'll talk about it now. What is fixed cost? Let me talk about it. Let me move on to next page. Fixed cost is the cost. Fixed cost is fixed. It is fixed regardless of your output volume. Regardless of your output volume is fixed. That's your fixed cost. For example, rent. Whether you make production or not, whether you make the sales or not, it doesn't matter. You have to pay your rent. Watchman's salary, you have to pay. It doesn't matter. You made the sales or you made the production or not. Doesn't matter at all, to be honest. You must have to make the payments. That fixed cost. And variable cost is the cost that will vary with your production level. The more you produce, the more the cost will incur. For example, let's say the shirt. The more shirt you produce, the more fabric you need. If you don't produce, you don't need the fabric. You don't need the buttons. You don't need the stitches. And if you do produce, you will need it. So when your cost increases with your production volume, that is your variable cost. And fixed cost is fixed. You produce or not, doesn't matter. It is fixed. Okay. And let me draw this graph in here. Why is going down all the time? Let's go this way. I want to draw here. Insert shapes. Yeah. Actually, I'll take it more. Okay. So that's your x-axis, and this is your y-axis, for example. Almost straight line. Okay. So fixed cost will be this fixed cost curve that will look like this way. That's fixed in here. Actually, I should make this one as fixed cost curve. Fixed. Okay, let's change the color. Let's say green. Fixed cost. Variable cost. Is like this. Okay, let's change the shape. Let that be yellow. And total cost is actually the summation of fixed cost plus variable cost. Parallel to that. Let me change the color to red. And let's insert some text box. Okay, this is quantity. No fill, no line. That's the quantity. These are normally you say the output. This one is to copy it actually. Here you say this as $sign cost. Is it okay now? Any question on this, guys? Total cost will be starting from this point. Okay, that's the whole difference. Why is that? Because let's say fixed cost is $100, variable cost is, let's say, $5. So when you produce zero, nothing, you pay only fixed cost, $100. Total cost is actually fixed cost plus variable cost. Okay. Now we'll talk about average fixed cost. Average fixed cost will be sort of like this. I'll try to draw it in freehand. It will drop very sharp, then it will go like this. I want to see the color as purple. Any other color? Green is there already. Let's say this color. This color.
Sorry, what was that one, sir?
Average fixed cost.
The brown line.
Brown line. Average fixed cost. It will drop pretty sharp. For example, you produce one item. Okay, the fixed cost is $100. You produce two items. How much average fixed cost? $50. You produce three items. Average fixed cost is $33. So it will drop at the beginning very sharp. Every item you produce drop very sharp, and slowly it will smoothen out. Okay, that's the average fixed cost. Then let's talk about average variable cost, how it will look like. Then we'll talk about average total cost. Average total cost will be like of U shape. Average, now I'm going to draw average variable cost. It will be like this. These are, I think it's not done properly actually. It will be, these don't actually become average total cost, to be honest. These don't become like average total cost. ATC. This is sort of like U shape, average total cost. Average total cost. Average total cost. Okay. Now we're gonna do another one. This one is gonna be tough now actually, but I'll do it. It's gonna be like this. That will be average variable cost. It should not cross the total cost. It will not cross. Okay. It will not cross. Why it will not cross? Because total cost is combination of fixed cost and variable cost. So total cost will be always higher than both of them. It will not cross. It's not a very good drawing.
So average variable cost just keeps increasing then.
Average variable cost will be also dropping sharp like the fixed cost, but it will never cross the average total cost. I can actually take the average total cost a little bit high. Then it's fine. Now it's much better. It will be like this. Yes, now it's much better. It will go close to the total cost, but it will not cross the average total cost. Okay, so let me bring this one as different color. Let's say this one as purple. Okay, average cost. This one, let's say, make it as black. That's how the curve looks like. Now I'm going to draw another one called marginal cost curve. Marginal cost will be like this. It will drop sharply. Oh, no. It will drop sharply. It will be sort of like Nike sign, like a tick mark, like this. Let's see the color. Which color can I give? More color. Right. Okay. Dark green. Okay. This one will be marginal cost. Marginal cost. Different cost curves are here. I can show you a good graph on this one. I can actually show you a better one. Different cost curves. Oh, here it is. See? So average fixed cost. Let me pick this one up. This one is nice. I like this one. This one is nice. Lovely. No. Where is the image? Okay. Look, marginal cost like a tick sign, Nike sign. Average total cost, you see the yellow one? It's almost same, like parallel. It will go close to this way. Here the gap is high, but here close, but it will never cross. Remember that. Average variable cost will never cross. Average fixed cost will drop very dramatically. It will go down, but it will never cross Q line, x-axis. It will never cross x-axis. It will come close to x-axis. That's what I try to put it here. See, average fixed cost, it never crosses this line. It will never cross this line. It might go close to it, but never cross it. Okay. See, these are also, the gap will be high in here. That's how I draw. That's the trick of drawing. The gap is high here, but here the gap will not be high. Average variable cost and average total cost. And my marginal cost is really shameful one. This will be sort of like this. Okay. My marginal cost is not that very good drawing. But yeah, so that's the marginal cost line. Yeah. Okay. So this is the thing. That's how it will look like. Any question for me so far, guys? Any question, anything?
No, I think we're all good. So
All good. Thank you very much. Let's move on then. So here we try to show you that how to calculate this cost. So output is in here, total fixed cost, total variable cost. Total cost is total fixed cost plus variable cost. Average fixed cost will be total fixed cost divided by quantity. Average variable cost will be total variable cost divided by quantity. Average cost will be total cost by average total cost. We mean the average cost means the average total cost. This one is interesting, marginal cost. Change in total cost divided by change in quantity. Remember this one, please. Please remember this one. Change in total. This thing I know you guys can handle this one because as divided by quantity, you get the average. That's okay. You can understand that. But marginal cost is a bit different. Marginal cost is change in total cost divided by change in quantity. Okay. I think we have almost done short-term cost. Here is the cost. So marginal cost, see, same average variable cost never crosses the average cost, or average cost is the average total cost. Average fixed cost, see, drop dramatically, but never crosses X. Goes close, it will go more down, it can go. That's okay, but never crosses that. That's all they will discuss in here. Like they will say average call as output prices, average total cost. Like that's what they will say. The marginal cost is greater than the average cost. AC must be rising. Yes. And what else we have? Okay, this is important. Return to scale. This is very interesting to talk about. Constant return to scale, increasing return to scale, and decreasing return to scale. These three stages we have to talk about. Okay, what are these three? Did they talk about it? No, they did not. Okay, I'll talk about a little bit what these three things are. So when you make an input, the input will give you an output. If your percentage change in input is less than percentage change in output, it is called increasing return to scale. I'll be writing it. I'm writing it. So percentage change. Actually, I will do it in equation. That will be better. Percentage change in input is less than percentage change then we'll call this one as increasing returns to scale. What did I say? Let me make this one as bold. No, I can't make bold. Okay. That's fine if I cannot make bold, it's all right. I don't have to. Oh, I can actually, but not that specific sign. I don't need that whole thing as bold. No, maybe italics will be nice. So. Three of them I will talk about. Okay. Percentage change in input is less than the percentage change in output. When percentage change is greater than the input. So output is greater than the input. I think output I should write fast. That will be better. Okay. Output. So when percentage change in output is greater than percentage change in input, increasing return to scale. You recruited one staff, first staff, employee producing 50 cakes, second staff, both of them produce 110 cakes. Increasing return to scale. Equal. Percentage change to output is equal to percentage change in input. This is called constant return to scale. percentage change in output is less than percent change in input, decreasing return to scale. Decreasing return to scale. Make sense? 3 of them. Okay. So when your cost input is increasing, input is increasing, that means that costing increases, but output is not increasing, decreasing return to scale. That is diminishing marginal return, this one. Okay. It might happen. Now you can ask me a question, well, look, all the time doesn't happen that they will always produce less. Yes, true, I agree. Sometimes if they produce the same, constant, if they produce more, it might happen they're producing more too. Yes, that is increasing return to scale. It's okay. All right. And what else you got? Okay, this one is about long run average cost curve. So this is the gray one, short run average cost, which is actually average cost is U-shape, I told you. Average total cost is U-shape. It's not average variable cost, it's average total cost, which is U-shape. Okay. So what happens is that I look at this, the blue line, this long run average cost. Okay. So what is the system or the rule is that when you will see that your average total cost is decreasing, it means you are enjoying an economies of scale. What does it mean? It means that economies of scale means that when you produce something in large scale, that your per unit costing will be reduced. Your per unit costing will be reduced. This is known as economies of scale. When you will see that your constant return to scale. Constant return to scale, it means that your input and output remains the same. Percentage change in input and percentage change in output, it remains the same, constant. But when you say decreasing return to scale, it means what? Your input is high, but output is less, which means diseconomies of scale. Diseconomies means economically you are in bad, opposite to economies of scale, wrong. Because of large, your per unit costing is increasing. Because of large production, per unit cost is increasing. So when you go into long run, for example, let's say Sydney Airport is long run. So now at the beginning, you will see that per unit, per plane landing or flying, taking off will be very expensive. Not many planes will be coming down there. But from today, 10 years from today, 20 years from today, you will see a lot of planes are coming there. That time the per unit cost will be reduced. So at the beginning, the economies of there is these economies of scale, but slowly it will have economies of scale. Okay. But if you talk about short term, it means like at the same place, like Sydney Airport, at the same place, slowly you say time will go, that per unit will be costing will be down. Like I said, even in Badgerry Creek as well, the per unit costing, it means that per plane landing or taking off, it will be expensive at the beginning. But when more and more will come up, it means they are going in large scale. Now let's say the 20 plane is coming now. After 5 years, every single month or every single year, 100 more planes are coming in. People are using it more and more. It means they're going into bigger scale. You see, per unit costing will be reduced. That's economies of scale. Okay, they try to understand, make you understand from here. Input and output, here you go. So 4 inputs, output is 25. 5 inputs, output is 45. 6 input, output is 60. So that from here you can calculate the per unit costing. Okay, how do you get the achievement? Yes, because economies of scale will give you like large scale production. It means per unit costing will be low. How it happens? Because specialization and division of labor. When the same person working in the same place for a long time, and you will see when the Bergerie Creek will be established first at the very beginning, it will be expensive. A lot of things will be waste, things working, not working, try this way, try that way. Slowly they will settle. It will take time. It will take time, very simple. Okay, think about the COVID vaccine too. When the first started, sometime working, sometime not working, this problem, that problem, they fix it slowly. That's how it goes actually. Slowly they become specialized. When it becomes specialized, they can work better. Expertise will be working, their productivity will go high. What else? There's nothing much in there. Okay, internal economy of scale might come from internally and externally, both ways. So if you think about the production place, business itself will have some benefits within the business, and they will also get benefit from outside, external too. For example, supplier side, a lot of supplier will supply to them because they're big production. Like for example, let's say Woolies is a very big retailers. So a lot of people wants to supply to Woolies. So the price that Woolies can purchase and the price that a normal grocery store will purchase will be very different. Woolies will buy, let's say, 100,000 pieces in one go. A grocery store in a local place cannot afford that much. So their per unit costing will be high. So that's what they will mean. The average costing will be going down. There is not much actually. I think I'll stop it here. There's nothing much in here, to be honest. Revenue, current prices, where is okay. Okay, what about the revenues? That's a good question. That let's talk about this graph a little bit. Nothing much. Short-term profit maximization. Using marginal curve to arrive at the profit maximization point is as long as marginal revenue is greater than the marginal cost. So this is the marginal revenue curve. This line is the marginal revenue line. Okay, so as long as marginal revenue is greater than the marginal cost. So you can see here, let me take it up. Marginal revenue curve. So what they're trying to mean here is that the most efficient scale of production is the point where the marginal revenue and marginal cost curve intersect. So here you see the marginal cost curve and the marginal revenue curve. They intersect at E point. So this will be the point where you should make the production. How much? 3 you should produce. If you produce less than that, you will see the marginal revenue is higher than the marginal cost. What does it mean? It means that every unit you produce, your revenue is higher than the costing of that product. The costing of the shirt, for example, this shirt, costing of this shirt is, let's say, $2, but your revenue is $5, for example, but your revenue will be giving you $12. What are you going to do? Produce more. You produce more. But if it happens, the marginal cost is higher than the marginal revenue. Let's say this way. Costing of the shirt is $15, but your revenue is $12. Are you going to produce? No. So when you need to stop production, not stop production, where you should continue production. If it is less than, when the marginal cost is less than marginal revenue, continue production, increase it. How far to increase? Increase till that level where marginal revenue is equal to marginal cost. At this point.
Sorry. Oh, so that's where they equal each other.
That's called the efficient production space. Yes, please. You trying to say something?
There, sorry. Oh no, I was just about to ask what you call that crossover there.
Oh, that's crossover point is called efficient scale of production. This line efficient scale of efficient production, or you can say
Yes.
profit maximization level of production. That is, you can say this one as maximum profit quantities here. This will give you the maximum profit. Okay. Now, so there you can see here, this red line is marginal revenue, this red line is marginal cost, this average revenue, average cost is here. Okay, the average cost. So they try to establish here, if you produce at this point, okay, how much you can get. So look at here, this is your average costing. Okay, average revenue, which means your price. So price is 6, average costing is 4 2/3. It means around 4.7, 4.66 something. Okay, so every unit you're producing, you're making $1.7 of profit. So multiply this one with quantity. So this purple color, this area is your profit level. Area is your profit. This purple level is your profit. Okay. If your costing is lesser, the less the costing will be, the bigger your profit rectangle will be. Loss, if it happens that your costing is higher, you will have a loss. So if I go back to this previous one, let's say this cost curve is not here. It goes above this your revenue curve. When average revenue is below the cost line, you have a loss. If average revenue is below the cost, you have a loss. Look at here. Average revenue is below the cost, you have a loss. That's all, nothing much in here, to be honest, yes. Firms may not have the information to maximize profit. Average cost to okay, yes. Firms may not want to profit maximize. There's a lot of companies that they don't want the profit. What they want? Something else. Non-profit organization, they don't want profit all the time, not necessarily. Okay, I think I will stop it in here now for today.